Hello and welcome to Season 2 of The Black Hole entitled Femme Party. Femme Party is the title of a novel that I've written, and I intend to read each chapter for the next 14 episodes of this podcast. Before I begin, I'd like to precursor this by saying all proceeds from the sale of this book will be used to form a technology company similar to the one proposed in the book and to start a solar farm in my hometown. Femme Party is available on Amazon Kindle by searching the title Femme Party, and it is also, there are links on either of my websites, plotm.com, that's plot, the letter m.com, and mitch4mayor.com, Mitch, the number 4, mayor.com. So now that I've set us up, let's get into Chapter 1 of Femme Party. The red side-by-side ATV motors down the field towards the camp set up along the French Creek in Utica, Pennsylvania. The design of the vehicle is for 2 seats, but a boat cushion in the middle accommodates 3. Mitch Miller is driving, and seated next to him is UN Ambassador Angelina Jolie and Hollywood actress Lucy Liu. Mitch parks the ATV near one of the 2 RVs at the back of the field. They all disembark and walk over to the canopy set up near the fire ring. Lucy says, "Thanks for the trail ride around your hometown. It was quite exhilarating." Mitch says, "Thanks for agreeing to camp on this farm with me. I hope someday to own this property just inside the borough limits of Utica. I think it has a lot of potential. What is it exactly that you ladies came all the way out here for? Surely it can't be to come camping with the most underground artists in the world." Angelina replies, "As you know, our lives can be extremely busy, and it isn't easy to break away even for a few days. After discovering your podcast, The Black Hole, we thought it was important to meet with you and discuss your future," Lucy interjects. Angelina says, "Your podcast is quite popular among the Hollywood community." Lucy says, "You outlined some interesting political concepts, and we like your ideas, especially the one you propose in your epilogue." Angelina says, "It's about your idea for a technology startup called the Zen 10 Marketplace. We think it's a brilliant idea and want to help." Mitch responds, "That is just one of many ideas I have if I was given the proper investment to develop a technology firm. Up until now, technology has only been used in the most profitable ways and not the best possible ways. If I were the head of a technology firm, I would use technology in the best possible way to benefit our society. Would you be interested in investing with me and being the board members of a closely held company?" Lucy says, "Before we get into the details of investing, we want to hear how you would pitch this marketplace to potential investors and maybe at least one other idea you have for your technology firm." Mitch responds, "Okay, before I begin, would either of you like a beverage? There's water, beer, and I can make you a Bloody Mary or a coffee." They respond, and Mitch opens his cooler and sloshes around in the ice water to produce 2 drinking bottles of water. He hands each actress a bottle, then grabs a red Solo cup and 2 handfuls of ice out of the same cooler. Out of another cooler, he produces a jar of pickles, Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, horseradish, and tomato juice. Mitch carefully mixes equal dashes of Worcestershire sauce and hot sauce, then adds the vodka to the Solo cup. Next comes the horseradish, and he pours in some pickle juice. He then pulls out a pickle and uses it to stir the concoction. Finally, he fills the cup with tomato juice and stirs the drink again with the pickle. Taking a sip, Mitch begins, "The Zen 10 Marketplace is designed to fight planned obsolescence. You may be familiar with planned obsolescence. It's a phenomenon accredited to capitalism, but I believe it also exists in communist nations as well, which is why the proposal is for a global marketplace. This phenomenon involves constantly changing the design or functions of a manufactured product so that the original model becomes obsolete only a few years after its manufacture date. The newer models use different parts and software than the original, so therefore the production line and software designers for the manufacturer is busy making these newer parts and updates, making it hard or impossible to find replacement parts and compatible programs for the older models. The Zen 10 marketplace is an online marketplace like eBay or Shazamazon, where people can sell used products or parts to other buyers directly. The only way a manufacturer can sell a new product on the Zen 10 marketplace is if they have entered into an agreement to not change the design of their product for a period of 10 years. The marketplace also allows for the sharing of videos on how to repair a product and promotes the manufacturer to sell replacement parts directly on the marketplace. By locking in a design for 10 years, the marketplace reduces the number of manufactured products that have become unrepairable due to planned obsolescence from entering the landfill. The Zen 10 marketplace is basically a recycling program for manufactured goods. It keeps more small appliances and toys out of landfills by making them repairable and even offering video on how they can be repaired. The Zen 10 marketplace also offers feedback to manufacturers. Account holders are encouraged to update when a product they purchase from the marketplace breaks and specifically what part had an issue. This feedback can be used to encourage manufacturers to fix the issues when they redesign in 10 years. For example, a manufacturer may find that certain plastic components broke quite often and therefore are encouraged to replace those parts with metal during their redesign. The Zen 10 marketplace brings together people who want to buy products that will last 50 years, even if they have to spend a bit more. The marketplace encourages manufacturers to build quality products rather than products that are engineered to break down just as the last replacement part leaves the warehouse. For the past 60 years, we have lived in an era of extreme waste when it comes to manufactured products. Hopefully, the Zen 10 marketplace brings us out of the era of planned obsolescence. Mitch takes another sip of his Bloody Mary and lifts it towards the sky. Lucy and Angelina clap briefly out of politeness. Angelina says, "So basically we would be building a website as large as eBay so that we can put pressure on manufacturers." Mitch says, "Exactly. If you have the market, the manufacturers will cater to it." Lucy says, "It's not just small appliances. I mean, look at this farm. Farm equipment surely turns over just like other products, and a farmer has to remortgage their property just to afford the newest equipment. Imagine how many people you could feed in an underdeveloped nation if someone locked in a design for farm equipment that lasted 50 or even 70 years, and the farmer can fix it by his or herself by watching a video." Mitch says, "That is well put, Lucy. Most automobile manufacturers make a lot of money from their service department. That's why they only offer warranties if they provide the service for the vehicle. This is what I mean by communist nations having planned obsolescence as well. If they didn't, they would have designed a motor vehicle that lasts 50 years. If one automobile manufacturer just locked one of their models in as far as design goes and advertised that they won't change the design for 50 years, there would totally be a market for that vehicle. If people didn't have to finance a vehicle every 10 years and instead could just pay to drop a new motor in their car after 20 years, many more people could afford solar panels for their homes." Angelina says, "Americans are too stuck on vehicles as status symbols, though. They want new designs every year. But take that utility vehicle we just rode in on. Something like that could have the same design for 50 years and people would probably buy them because of it." Mitch says, "That's an excellent point. Club Car, the manufacturer of gas and electric golf carts, had the same basic design for their vehicles from the mid-'80s until the 2000s. Then they decided to begin changing the models in the early 2000s, which accounts for more service calls and parts being made in foreign nations. Why would you need a different engineering design for a golf cart, right? Who cares what their golf cart looks like? It's a utility vehicle. But that company decided their business model needed planned obsolescence. You're right, though, Angelina. If a company formed that had a side-by-side UTV and, say, 3 different sized riding lawnmowers and promised to keep the same basic design for 50 years, only making slight modifications every 10 years to improve the original design, I'll bet Americans would buy those products knowing they can find parts and repair them for at least 50 years. And those are the types of companies the Zen 10 Marketplace encourages to form. Angelina says, as we said, we are definitely interested in investing. This doesn't sound like the first groundbreaking idea you've had. Do you have others you can share with us? Mitch says, of course. Would you like to hear it now or should we have lunch? Lucy says, please continue. I'm not hungry in the least. Are you, Angelina? Angelina says, I'm fine. Please proceed. Mitch takes another sip of his cocktail, then sets his drink down on the camp table. Facing the 2 stunningly beautiful actresses, he begins to speak again. I want to tell you about a platform I've nicknamed Blarty, which stands for Block Party. This is an online booking site that is a competitor to the popular site Airbnb. As you know, Airbnb allows everyday citizens that have an apartment or other forms of housing to rent out rooms or the entire space for periods of time based on their schedule. The owner of the housing space posts pictures of the space and the price they wish to charge for the accommodations to their Airbnb account, and others with accounts book the space in advance. The owner agrees to keep the space clean and provide amenities such as sheets and towels, much like a stay at a hotel. But the owner and the renter are able to post reviews of their guest and their stay respectively. Blarty has all the same features as Airbnb, but it is geared towards building infrastructure using a percentage of the money made from renting space. It is also designed to try to get everyone on a city block to register the property for renting. The goal of Blarty is that if a large group wanted to, they could rent an entire street. That is, one block or one street from intersection to intersection of houses facing each other on both sides of the street. A block leader is elected that could apply for a permit to shut the street down and allow this large group to hold an event or block party on the street. Each unit on the block can set their rental price at whatever they think is fair, much like Airbnb, but a percentage of rental price goes to an account managed by the entire block. There is a feature on the Blarty platform that allows all members of the block to video conference, and the block leader will steer meetings to decide how to spend the accrued money from the renting of spaces on that block. They can use the money to build solar panels on specific houses they voted to build on, or use the money to pay a professional civil engineer to do a study on which houses it makes sense to build solar panels on first on that block. Entire apartment buildings or condo buildings can also use the platform and would be counted as a block. This platform would allow the film industry to rent an entire apartment building or a city block. Now they can shoot their project at the location and also house their actors and crew in the same structures surrounding the area they are filming. An apartment building could use the infrastructure money accumulated to put a windmill on the roof, or they could keep some buses on retainer as an evacuation strategy in case of an emergency situation. Say a big-name Hollywood actor is in a location city for a film shoot and wants to raise money for green infrastructure for that city. They can use their fame to build solar panels and windmills everywhere they go. The actor has an option on the Blarty platform to rent a house on a block in this location city, and the block leader of that block will try to coordinate the entire block renting at the same time. Owners on this block are informed of a celebrity wanting to stay on their block and are allowed to adjust the rental price up based on this information. The celebrity can specify that he wants the infrastructure money raised during his stay only used for solar panels in one city. Perhaps in a coastal city, he wants the money only used for evacuation strategy. Fans of the celebrity are informed about the actor staying in a city and have the option to pay to stay on the same block as them and raise money for a good cause. The celebrity can opt to promise to sign autographs and appear at the block party for an hour each night after they come back from filming. This would further incentivize fans to pay a little more to rent a space in a city they always wanted to visit. So now Blarty encourages green infrastructure and also has a function to allow a block by block strategy for evacuation of a city. Blarty could reach out to the major hotel chains and see if they would offer discounts to registered members who are developing evacuation strategy. A renter may not want to rent their property for the week a celebrity is going to be on their block, but if they receive a discount for staying at a hotel along the highway outside of the city and they can rent their property at a high price, they may commute to work for that week since the profit margin is high. An apartment building may have a bus on retainer in case of emergency, and Blarty may have helped that busload get a discount at a hotel 2 hours away. If an emergency does actually occur, that same busload may have worked out a deal to have first choice at that same hotel at the new and probably elevated prevailing rate. This allows residents of a city to have a standing reservation based on evacuation strategy, and Blarty can work with the city government and these hotels to have strategy for the entire city. Blarty members in other cities may allow for an emergency clause in their renter agreement so that if a neighboring city needs to evacuate, and they can offer evacuees a place to stay during the emergency. Finally, another function of Blarty is to help bring large events like the Olympics to cities that wouldn't normally qualify because they don't have enough hotel rooms. Instead of the city incentivizing and subsidizing the building of new hotels to qualify, they can use that money or the revenue from the tax break they were offering to invest in their schools and infrastructure. This would make the Olympics more about building infrastructure for international cities and create more overall good from the Games. Residents can commit years in advance to evacuating the city during the Olympic Games through the Blarty platform. The days leading up to the Olympic Games will act as the ultimate test for Blarty and the evacuation strategy developed through the city. The goal would be for the entire city to evacuate within 24 hours before the lighting of the torch for the Olympics. While the athletes may already be at the Olympic Village, this would make room for spectators to converge on the target city in time for the opening ceremonies. The result would be income for the city and its residents while developing an emergency strategy. So that's my idea for a second internet platform called Blarty. It is a property rental platform that takes a percentage of rental income and places it in a separate account that is controlled through voting by the entire block. Blarty builds green infrastructure, develops an evacuation strategy for a city during an emergency, and makes the Olympic Games spread more good and safety around the globe by allowing for evacuation strategy and infrastructure in cities that typically wouldn't receive this type of investment. Mitch takes a draw from his cocktail as the two actresses look at each other and smile. Lucy says, "I knew there was more in that brain of yours. I just love this idea." Angelina says, "So this could help low-income neighborhoods and cities fight gentrification as well, couldn't it?" Mitch says, "Exactly. It's like ethical gentrification. If families want to sell and move out of a neighborhood, they can, but if they want to stay, Blarty gives them the tools to be able to improve their block and their house at the same time." Angelina says, "These ideas sound amazing and I am definitely in to invest. So where do we begin?" Lucy says, "Count me in as well." Mitch says, "The first step is for me to talk with some people I went to college with that know computer programming and the like. I'll try to put together a comprehensive budget of what we would need to get these two platforms off the ground. Next, we would form a closely held company, probably an LLC, with the three of us as board members. I would hope that I have displayed enough creativity that you will consider voting me as CEO. As such, I won't take pay from your investment until the company is profitable. We, of course, will not only be needing an initial cash investment to launch these companies, but also an investment of your celebrity. What I mean is, if you promote the platforms on your social media and talk to other celebrities about the platforms, perhaps they can be convinced to follow suit. This built-in marketing strategy should grow the business quickly. Also, if other celebrities should want to invest, we can vote them into the company. Lucy says, can we agree to only allow invest into the investment class? Lucy says, can we agree to only allow females into the investment class of the company? Angelina says, that is an excellent idea, Lucy. I agree. We should try to grow the wealth of only female celebrities with this investment. Mitch says, I was hoping someone would suggest that. Thanks, Lucy. While it would be hard to have a technology company without male employees, I think we can limit the type of investors we allow into the company. Angelina says, so it's agreed. We will build a technology company designed to change the world into a better place. Lucy says, I assume you have other amazing ideas for this company to grow and expand, Mitch. Mitch says, of course. It will be a company that uses technology in the best possible ways instead of the most profitable ways. But as with any company, there will be a profit. Angelina says, great, I can't wait to hear your budget proposal. By the way, what do you call this farm? I would love to bring my kids here sometime. Mitch says, I call it Doc's Farm. The man who used to own it was Doc Warshall, and he used to hire me to do the weed eating on the property when I was 11. Lucy says, you started working when you were 11? You definitely have my vote for CEO. Mitch says, thanks, Lucy. Perhaps if I cook lunch, Angelina will give me her vote as well. Have either of you ever had mountain pies? Angelina says, I probably have. We just called them something else. What exactly is it? Mitch says, it's basically a toasted sandwich cooked over the fire in these cast iron makers that pinch the edges of the bread together, forming a pocket-style sandwich. I can make pizza, ham and cheese, or I can put pie filling inside like cherry or blueberry. Any interest? Lucy says, what kind do you like? Mitch says, I like the pizza ones. Angelina says, I'll try a pizza pocket. Lucy says, me too. Mitch says, great. I'll stoke the fire and make them. I can bring them to your RVs if you have other obligations or just want to be in the AC. I do have one more proposal for both of you while I have you together. Angelina says, great, let's hear it. I want to watch anyway. Lucy says, my agenda is wide open, so pitch away. Mitch begins stoking the fire and making the sandwiches. As he does so, he begins talking to the two celebrities. So I was thinking that the headquarters of the company would be in Pittsburgh, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from here. I believe that together we can not only revolutionize the technology industry, but also have a political revolution as well. What I am proposing is that you each buy a house in this county to be close to Pittsburgh. The town where I went to high school is Franklin, and it is the county seat. The next high school up the Allegheny River from Franklin is Oil City, and they are high school rivals. Both towns have a population of maybe 5,000 and have beautiful old Victorian houses that can be purchased very cheaply compared to what you are used to paying for a house. What I am hoping is that one of you will buy a house in Oil City and the other in Franklin. You establish these residences as your permanent residence, and one of you registers Republican and the other Democrat. In a few years, or whenever the limitation of becoming mayor of each city has passed, I am proposing that you each run for mayor of those cities. I have many ideas for how each mayor could play off of the other to change this county into one of the eco-friendliest counties in the world. Each mayoral campaign platform would start out with something small but revolutionary. For example, the Democrat would promise to take over the cable company and deliver low-cost cable and high-speed internet to the people of that city. The Republican would promise to work with banks to establish a system whereby citizens would not be allowed to purchase alcohol and tobacco on credit as a way of protecting people from becoming in debt from the purchase of intoxicants. I have many ideas on how these two platforms can evolve into two separate movements geared towards sustainable green revolutions. I will eventually prove that whether you are Democrat or Republican, you can help bring the planet back from the brink of extinction in new and innovative ways. What I am suggesting is that we can take some of the revenue generated from the technology company and invested into this county to show how a rural county can convert to renewable energy and promote the idea of everyone driving electric vehicles. I hope you will consider taking this leap of faith. You can always keep your other homes and properties, but give this a shot for a few years. Lucy says, wow, that is a lot, but it's kind of exciting. You're talking about real revolution here. I mean, can we get in trouble in any way? Mitch says, I don't see how we can get into trouble if you are each legally elected to office. It actually legitimizes the other changes we are trying to bring to the technology sector. Angelina says, I'm rarely at my home in California as it is, plus the air quality with the wildfires is not great for a lot more parts of the year than it used to be, it seems. After trying my hand at the UN for years, maybe I should focus on change at the local level as a way of making the big changes we need as a nation and a planet. Lucy says, I'll register Republican and move to Oil City. Doesn't Tim Allen have a house there or something? Maybe he'll work on mine. Mitch says, I don't think he is actually a tool man, but maybe he is. Anyway, contractors are probably way less expensive in this county than what you are used to. Angelina says, since Lucy seems to be taking the lead on this thing, I would consider buying a house in Franklin and running for mayor. But where will you live, Mitch? Mitch says, I have my house in Pittsburgh with my wife, but as I said before, I would love to buy this property and maybe run for mayor of my hometown here in Utica. Lucy says, so 3 mayors and a technology company changed the world. I love it. Angelina says, I'm glad we came to talk to you in person. Mitch says, me too. It's good to get out of your trailers, away from your phones, and really make some plans just in case your loyal fans have hacked your electronics or something. You know how obsessed your fans can be. Maybe I'm just paranoid. Angelina says, yes, that's why I don't really do social media. This plan will allow us to video conference about the business, but discuss politics only in person. Lucy says, obsessed fans or Big Brother, who knows who's listening. Thanks for inviting us out to this beautiful location. I think we are all agreed. So now we can relax and enjoy lunch. Mitch serves lunch to the 2 investors. They take an afternoon kayak float down the French Creek, paddling right into camp. After a wonderful night under the stars telling stories around the campfire, the group wakes to morning coffee. They say their goodbyes, and the 2 RVs depart the back of the field on Doc's farm. So that's the end of chapter 1. And as you can see, it's an interesting book. I'll just close by saying there's a smattering of technology ideas in this book. And I think they're good ideas that existing technology companies could pick up or that a technology startup could champion. And so I'm reaching out to people who would invest in a technology startup or computer science people. I've kept a couple ideas out of this book that I'd like to develop myself, and that would be the subject of the next podcast season after this book is completed. It would be starting a technology startup from the ground up. And I believe in transparency. I think there's a trend towards transparency in the technology and the business world. So the podcast would serve as a transparency vehicle. We would discuss issues with the company and things would come up to vote if you're in the investor class of the company. I said that this startup would be similar to the one proposed in this novel. What I mean by similar is that it doesn't necessarily have to be all female investors. So if you know someone that's studied computer science or you would be interested in investing, you can contact me through my websites, through the contact forms on those. And thanks for listening. Tune in for episode 2, which is chapter 2 of the book. And again, It's for sale on Amazon Kindle. And if you would like a copy of the book as an EPUB file or a Word document to print out yourself or read in your e-reader, they are available for free, and I can send them to you if you just send me your email. Thanks for listening. This was Season 2, Femme Party.